in Bangalore Aerospace Park, and it was a very seamless process from application to provisional grant as 3-4 months. So so they can be powerful schemes if you take advantage of those.
Great, thank you, gentlemen. Any closing remarks from any of the panel members on?
Was saying, and I do respect all the work that the government has done. And I think one thing on a very optimistic note from my point of view about this wonderful country, Nokia is a Finnish company, so the profits are going back there, ultimately. Yes, we give them a platform. What I hope we can do in manufacturing and in entrepreneurship in this country is to encourage entrepreneurs to stay here, encourage engineers to stay here. Some of our best brains are going abroad still, right? We need to create an environment where they stay here and they create their businesses here. I mean, you all know, of course, Apple made record profits across the world last quarter. Steve Jobs, when he was 19, he came to India. He was so influenced, whatever is the story. He came to India. He went back to Palo Alto, California, and created Apple, right? Now, why can't we get our youngsters to stay in India, come up with dream new businesses that are purely Indian ideas, and make it stay here, create new industries, new manufacturing industries, based upon our own culture and our own thoughts. I don't think we should copy anybody. I think we can create new businesses, new industries. We've done it before. We can do it again. I think now is a tremendous environment in which we can encourage people to do that.
Great. Thank you, Tim. That's on that very inspiring note. I'll probably open this to the audience. Any questions that you would like to ask to the panel members?
Yeah, I'm Sanjay Anand from Blackberries, one of the men's garments manufacturers. Most of the manufacturing units are in Gurgaon. And we are facing a big challenge of workers because there is no place to live nearby Gurgaon. So turnover is so high, we are buying technologies, we are buying so many computerized machines to operate on. But we are not able to keep those workers who are being trained on those technology, and they are going back to because of their festival seasons, because of some personal problems, but they are not coming back to us again to work on those machines. So we are facing a lot of problem because of that, because there is no living space, or they cannot live in that space where nearby factories or nearby organization, they are from IT or automobiles, and we are in garment manufacturing. So is there any solution to this?
I guess the question is, how do we optimally locate manufacturing so that you have the right ecosystem, especially in labor intensive? How do you have labor available?
Nice to meet you. I can't help you with how to house your staff in Gurgaon. That would be a question for the government. But in our case, we operate 2 factories, one in Daman near Mumbai, and one in Himachal Pradesh. And we did it deliberately because, one, we got tax incentives to do it, and second, there was plenty of labor. So fortunately, we don't face the problems that you have. It must be a nightmare. But I think the government should try to address how can they help you keep your workers around your factory in Gurgaon.
Yes, your issue is a very valid one, and we have attempted a bit in the SEZ scheme. You see, when we used to have the export processing zone scheme, we used to have only one component of that is processing area, wherein only the industrial complex used to be there. There was no facility for the workers to stay or those kind of things. Now, when we changed the concept from EPZ to SEZ scheme in 2000, now SEZ has got 2 parts. One is the processing area, wherein the industrial establishment is there, manufacturing units comes up, and second is non-processing area, wherein the developer sets up the required social infrastructure for the workers, which could be housing, could be hospital, could be schools, and that enabling environment we have made. SEZs are being set up by the private sector now. It's not being set up, but we have made a, and for enabling that to happen, we provide certain benefits to the developer, duty-free inputs even for setting up, say, housing and those kind of things. And in fact, in Gurgaon, there was a very beautiful concept which came up by Orient Craft. You must be knowing, it's a big manufacturer there. They wanted to set up a SEZ for textiles, wherein they had planned that they would be having the manufacturing in the processing area, and there would be 10,000 dormitories for the workers, so that they can go on cycle to their workplace, and most of the workers which are coming from the nearby Haryana areas and wherein they have to travel 1.5 hours every day, they won't have to travel. So they had planned that kind of concept, but unfortunately because of some regions of theirs that couldn't come. But we have provided that enabling environment, and I am sure in the times to come those kind of things should happen.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Anil Mathur. My question is to Mark. We are the manufacturer for testing machines, and we are supplied to HAL, Bangalore, Lucknow, and other couple of places. So our machines are working fine there, and it's very competitive. So with your joint venture with HAL, what are the products you are manufacturing, and how can we supply and assist you for your testing machine requirement locally in India, from India? Thank you.
In terms of the second question, we should probably have a separate conversation. But in terms of the first question, is how is the joint venture working with HAL? I think with any joint venture, it's all about what's the complementary fit. So, you know, have you got something that one partner is going to bring and something the other partner is going to bring, so they come together and you've got an aligned set of interests, and that's worked very well with HAL. So HAL have been very good in helping the business to be set up in terms of providing land, helping us with getting clearances, setting the business up, providing all the right governance. And then from a Rolls-Royce point of view, we've brought our sort of operational expertise and much of the demand in terms of the parts that we make, which are basically we do precision machining and special processes on components for the compressor within the gas turbine. So yeah, overall, it's been a really great success story. I think we're really sort of proud of what's been achieved, and I can probably speak for HAL, and they would say they feel the same way.
Thank you. Second question is with Dr. Singhal. Like we are manufacturing the machines which earlier were imported from overseas, European countries, Japanese, and from US, and we are trying to know how to develop maybe the 90% or 80% of the specification of the machine which are imported from the US in from last 10 years or 15 years duration. When we are supplied, like which I was giving an example of HAL, that the product which you have quoted in 13 lakh rupees, the same product was quoted in 1,30,000 euro from a Spanish company, and they bought our machine and saved 20% of the price. My question is that that for developing that indigenous technology in India, what type of support we can expect to exhibit our or to display or market our product outside India? We exported a couple of machines from overseas customer for overseas customer, but we really could not do as good as the European or American companies have done it in India in past. So because of the infrastructure, because of the management, or because of the money, whatever. But we are not able to do as they have done it in past, and they are still doing it. So if your organization can help us to promote our products overseas, probably we can do that front with you and develop more better technology ourselves. That's what we are confident. We are confident that we can do.
Yes, we already do have the scheme for encouraging your overseas marketing. We have got a scheme known as market development assistance schemes, wherein what happens that there are various export promotion councils, around 31 of them. There is export promotion council for every product, engineering export promotion council, gems and jewelry export promotion council, apparel export promotion councils. These organizations keep on participating in the international fairs, exhibition, etc. You can become member of one of your related export promotion councils, and when they participate in the international exhibitions, You can go and participate with them, and the Department of Commerce provides sports through market development assistance scheme, wherein your expenditure in your stall over there, you are traveling there, those kind of expenditure, we provide you assistance in that. So there is a scheme, market development assistance scheme, and number of exporters are taking benefits, specifically the smaller ones under the MDS scheme. And let me also tell you that Government of India keep on organizing India shows at different places. The complete chart of where is going to be India show this year, that is brought out in the beginning of the year itself. ITOPA do organize that one, and we enable you also to participate and help you.
Sir, to be very honest and very precise with you, sometimes it is really difficult for a company like engineering company like us, small MSME companies, to get even MSME certificate from Government of India. Afternoon, I had talked to the same question to the Development Commissioner, that in Delhi we are not getting the MSME certificate because the pollution comes in the picture, then the local MCD comes in the picture. Though we can satisfy people like DRDO, HAL, and other big giant Navy, but it's very difficult to satisfy the people from the local bureaucracy.
You see, I agree.
Can I just interrupt you? I mean, I think it's a more specific issue. You can probably take it offline. I think there was a question in that corner. If it is still there, we can take it. My apologies. I think you can connect outside. It seems to be a very specific question related to your comment. Okay, with that, thank you, gentlemen. A very interesting discussion, a very diverse set of views from different sectors. Appreciate your coming over and sharing your views with the audience.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Mathur. And may I now request you to please thank each one of our panelists with memento. So once again, let's put our hands together for the gentleman right here. You know, it's very difficult to kind of chair the final session of the day. So I think double the applauses for our panelists and, of course, our panel chair, Mr. Mathur. So we have a token for each one.
Sure.
Let's put our hands together as he presents each one of our speakers with a memento. Thank you so very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And to present a memento of appreciation to our session chair, may I once again request Rajesh from Team ETH to please join us on stage. Rajesh doing the honors. Thank you, Mr. Mathur. A pleasure indeed. May I request you to please join them for a picture? Thank you, gentlemen. And as I get set to thank each one of you for being present here, I truly hope that all of you felt that the day was enlightening in certain ways. I'd like to request all of you to please make sure that you fill in the feedback forms and do submit them at the registration desk on your way out. I'd also like to thank our partners without whom the event could not be possible. I'd like to thank our gold partners, Adani Group and Cisco, our silver partners, SAP and Siemens, our associate partner, PTC, and our online media partners. The event, of course, has been brought to you by ETH. Once again, I'd like to thank each one of you for being a part of the Economic Times Manufacturing Summit, the second edition. So we truly look forward to seeing you next time as we get older, or shall we say as we grow along with you. Thank you once again for joining us.